Welcome into Bengals Breakdown. I am Tom Downey. Coming up on today's show, we react to the latest two-round NFL mock draft from ESPN's Mel Kiper. We will look at the Bengals picks, who was there, who was gone, the pick itself, and everything you need to know on that one. The NFL draft is rapidly approaching, and we will have you covered with all the latest and greatest on the Bengals when it comes to the draft. Hit that sub button so you don't miss out. Before we get to the Bengals pick at number 18 overall, some notable players off the board. Also, Brock Bowers not there. Shocker, I know. J.C. Latham goes 11 to the Chargers. Talise Fuanga goes 13 to the Raiders. Olu Fashanu goes 14 to the Saints. Troy Fatanu goes number 16 to the Seahawks. And then also Cooper DeJean goes 17 to Jacksonville. That's a bunch of offensive linemen off the board. So from that perspective, maybe not an ideal outcome. Although, if you wanted a impact 3 technique, well, you're in for good news. Byron Murphy, the defensive tackle out of Texas, who we spent plenty of time on here on the show, was the pick here in round 1 for Cincinnati. We'll break this down, but first, Mel's argument in favor of the selection. As of now, Mel wrote in his mock draft, I am assuming the Bengals are keeping wideout Tee Higgins, who was franchise tagged, but requested a trade last month. If they plan to give Higgins an extension, they could instead look towards a defense that ranked last in the league in both yards per play allowed, 6.0, and yards per pass attempt allowed, 8.1 last season. Murphy led the Big 12 with 33 quarterback pressures last season, which is even more impressive when you consider how he played nearly all of his snaps along the interior. He has a lightning quick get off at the snap. He's the best 3 technique in this class. And we'll make notes. You'll see different numbers on Byron Murphy. I think Mel was citing in Big 12 games there. Also, pressures from the interior are also very doable. So I kind of didn't like that part, but this is, I think, the consensus, quote-unquote, top 3 tech in this year's draft class. A lot more pros and cons to come here on Byron Murphy. Give me your one-word reaction if the Bengals were to take Byron Murphy in this year's NFL draft. It'll be the pinned comment on today's video, so if the ad comes on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and go vote. We have Murphy at 45 pressures. That number is per PFF, by the way. 16.5% pressure rate, really good numbers there. Kind of saw that consistent, steady growth you want to see out of players. In general, when you see under 300-pound defensive tackles, everyone wants to comp them to Geno Atkins. And that's probably what you would do if the Bengals actually took him. I think Shelby Harris' athletic comp also works out pretty well. High motor, I think the burst is really good. Sometimes I think the trigger can be a little bit lacking, like firing off it might have been a defensive coaching scheme thing, by the way. Fantastic athlete, plays with great leverage, but he's not the biggest guy. He's 6'1", 297. It's not a huge player, even though he did play a bunch of nose guard at Texas, even over Tavondre Sweat at times. My biggest issue when it comes to Murphy and the Bengals is not the player. He's going to be around a top 20 player for me, although I do have Johnny Newton ranked higher, but I think I'm different on that, so I'm not going to hold it against the Bengals. Is you have 3 techniques. You have Sheldon Rankins. You have B.J. Hill. Now, Hill's probably not here next year, especially if you were to draft Byron Murphy in round 1. I think they're out on Zachary Carter. I still need to get a nose guard. I don't think I want to play Rankins, Hill, and Murphy and say, I have fixed my run defense. My interior pass rush is loaded. It's really good now. And I think the argument is you took the best player on your board. And I wouldn't be upset at that if that is the path for the Bengals. Some others who were there, obviously I mentioned Johnny Newton. I'm a big fan of his game, but I don't think most people feel that way. So I'm not going to ding the Bengals as a result or whatever. Amarius Mims, I love him too. Again, there's a lot of risk there, but he's got upside to be an elite left or right tackle. Liatu Latu, if the medicals check out, but in the edge, I don't think so. Jackson Powers Johnson out of Oregon stands out as an interior offensive line option. Maybe you replace Ted Karras in a year, just a thought. Tyler Guyton, kind of the other offensive tackle. So the board did not fall well for Cincinnati when it comes to potentially taking offensive tackles in round 1. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. You can see the view from your seat before you buy, like on that far rightmost image. You got a good angle of what it looks like at GABP if you haven't, been before. All-in prices also show your total up front, so you know you're getting a great deal before you check out. It's easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area. Well, that is maybe maybe you're going to go to a comedy show, maybe you're going to go to the theater, or maybe just the Reds or FC Cincinnati as well. Download the Game Time app, create your account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply, but again, create your account and redeem code CHATSPORTS, ChatSports, for $20 off. Always keep an eye out for a zone deal, by the way. Zone deals mean you pick the section, Game Time picks the seats for big-time savings along the way. So check the comments section and the description of today's show. GameTime.co is where you download the app and create your account. And promo code CHATSPORTS gives you $20 off. Some notable picks in round 2. Ennis Rakestraw out of Missouri off the board at 44. Malachi Corley, 45. Troy Franklin, 46. Stunned to see Jackson Powers Johnson fall to 47. There are medical concerns there. Hip, hamstring, and even a concussion history for JPJ. Chris Jenkins off the board. Another defensive tackle goes there pretty early, just to make note of the pick right before Cincinnati. In round 2, maybe a surprise for some, it is a Michigan wide receiver, Roman Wilson, who's going to be maybe just outside my own personal top 50 in this year's class. A lot more to come on Wilson, who he is, if you don't know. But first, grade the Mel Kiper Mock Draft for me. A, B, C, D, or F. Get those grades in for me in the comment section right now. Here's the pitch from Mel Kiper. Here's a spot for Cincinnati to snag a number 3 wideout. Wilson moved up in my rankings after running a 4.39 40-yard dash at the combine. He ran away from defenders on crossers on tape, but I wasn't totally sure how he tests. He had 12 touchdowns last season. He can be a movable playmaker in Zach Taylor's offense. I think that the movable playmaker angle matters here when it comes to Roman Wilson. I think that is what the Bengals would prefer at wide receiver. Ladd McConkey's a dream fit, but he was well gone by this point there. From a play style, I think you got Sterling Shepard size, but frankly, a better athlete. This is a very impressive athlete. Not just at the 4.39 40-yard dash, but he ran a 4.07 shuttle. Despite not being a very big player, he's sub 5'11", 185. He did do outside receiver stuff for Michigan in the past as well. Some other comps here, you guys don't like him. San Antonio Holmes, actually a pretty decent athletic comp for Roman Wilson as well. Really good hands, does not drop passes, pretty solid route runner too. Didn't put up the best production, in part because, the run first Michigan offense. From that perspective, they also lied about his height. They said he was 5. They said he was 6 foot. He was a full inch under that. Doesn't offer a lot of forced missed tackles. He's not going to be a tackle breaker after the catch. Probably won't be a great contested catch guy. But it's like a supercharged Charlie Jones pick here. Earlier round, probably a better outcome as well. You can put him in the slot in year 1, and you have the flexibility to move him outside into year 2 and beyond. Some other players who were on the board here for Cincinnati in round 2. I would have thought a long time about Kingsley out of BYU. I think he could go in the top 40 this year. So if I can get him in the second round, I would probably be hyped about that one and feel great there. Other top receivers, Jalen Polk, Ricky Pearsall were there. I like Pearsall's inside out too. I think it'd be a really good fit for Cincinnati, one we've mocked previously. Zach Frazier was there. I like his game. You got that dog in him, too. And that could be your Ted Karras replacement. Maybe you want more help in the short term. Patrick Paul also stands out. Probably less so than Kingsley because he's a left tackle. But there were options there for Cincinnati. I don't love Wilson at the top 50, but he does fit, I think, what the Bengals are going to be searching for at wide receiver.